know about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. Guys, it has been a crazy past 2.5 weeks as we're into free agency, and tonight we got a couple of things I want to cover. Firstly, Dan Orlovsky, who's, it's funny, people's come out here and they say what they want to say about Tua. I put in the film work, I do what I got to do, and yet my opinion aligns consistently even when I just break down the film with guys like Kurt Warner, Peyton Manning, Dan Orlovsky, and Peyton Manning and Kurt Warner, they really only put their film little analysis out, mid last season last year. And I had already been doing them since 2020. Me and Ballgame were doing them. And then in 2021, it was me, Ballgame, and Martin. And, it's nice that, that's why, I continue and remain to have the belief I have into that I think we're gonna, I think he's gonna take that next step in this offense under Mike McDaniel, under this coaching staff, with these weapons that they've started to surround him with the O-line they've started to put together. Speaking of the O-line, we're gonna talk about it tonight. A guy, Ben Baldwin, on Twitter, he's actually a contributor to The Athletic, and he's kind of an analytics guy. And, he put together, he charted out what 2022 pass blocking expectations, pass protection expectations should be for every offensive line. And guess what? You're going to be surprised when you see that chart and where the Dolphins land. Beyond that, the Terron Armstead numbers finally came out. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. And, we're going to talk about the cap. We're going to talk about how that affects the Miami Dolphins salary cap, because year one, again, they worked it out. They made it work, man. I don't know. Hey, you got to applaud Chris Greer. Obviously, there's new playoff overtime rules that have been implemented. And you know why we're going to talk about them tonight, Dolphins? Because they're going to matter to us this year, because we've seen the playoffs this year. I'm telling you right now. So we're going to talk about the new playoff rules. Again, I got a little statistic I want to show you guys about Tyreek Hill to continue to get you guys hyped up about what he's going to bring to this offense. And another name on there where I told you that I think we should have, maybe searched for when we were in the market, but obviously no longer we're in that. And then we're going to talk about, again, some nuggets dropped by Barry Jackson today. I want to go over those with you. And then a little bit of a minor update in regards to the Flores Dolphins situation. But how's everyone feeling tonight, man? It's Tuesday, and if you're in LeBron James's house, it's Taco Tuesday wherever you're at, man. What's going on? Poke Gray Ninja, hey, playoffs, here we come. Exactly what it Rome Gray says. That's what the fuck Cash Greer does. Not a boy. Hammer, what's going on, man? Topher, bro, it's an amazing deal for Armstead. Lynn Bowden sleeps with his shoes on, says Natty. All right. Let's roll, says Chris. Great minds think alike, says Mike. The intro gives me chills. I appreciate that, JC. And we got an updated intro coming, because we're about to hit April. I want everyone to realize what we're about to hit. AIDS draft month. Even though we ain't picking no 1 or 2, I'm still hyped. I'll still be live for day 1. We'll be live for day 2. Obviously it's going to be a little bit more hype for day 2 by the looks of it. So I might put together a better panel for day 2 and a little bit of day 3, because then actually on day 3 the plan is to be driving out to Buffalo and flying out the next day to Disney for my daughter's birthday. That's what the plan is. So we'll see how that all goes down. But on top of everything, we're going to have a new look coming for Finside the NFL. This month, everything's going to change. Well, except me, but everything's going to change. So, we're going to have a different format going into when the season starts. So be on the lookout for that. I agree with you, Isaac. Top 12 is not much of the leap. That's why I actually want to talk about the Dan Orlovsky clip with y'all guys. I'm going to play it and everything like that. And we're going to try a new format. I'm going to follow Dougley's advice and see if I minimize the video a little bit more and maximize me. If I don't get hit by if I don't get demonetized. We'll see how that rolls. But I've said this. I think based on efficiency and flashes he can give us top 12. You don't need top 3, top 5 to win. I mean, it's nice, but I have always said I think in top 12, you're always in the mix for the Pro Bowl. And I think in this offense, it's going to suit him, and I think it's a realistic outlook to have. People forget. Listen, that 3.5, 4-game stretch in November, right? He gave you top 15 play. Anyone can say what they want, but he gave you top 15 play, and that was with bad personnel minus Waddle, because Gesicki disappeared a little bit over that period. Poor offensive line play for that stretch. Obviously a coaching staff that didn't believe in him, but then, obviously started having mechanical issues, really became an issue. Throwing over the second level became an issue for him. Predetermining wrong reads and throwing there became a little bit of an issue. So the stuff you have to clean up, but that's all through coaching and film work. So I'm not even worried about that. As far as the mechanics and stuff like that go, I have talked about that on multiple occasions. I didn't like the fact that I didn't see that as a big of an issue. He had flawless mechanics at Alabama, but I've also talked about the context of why his mechanics are where they're at. He started too early, and you go back to even before we drafted Tua. If anyone's been listening for that long, and I know plenty of you have, I always talk about habits, right? Especially at the quarterback position, and how you can develop bad habits. I've had this conversation multiple times on this channel, and when you talk about, look at 2020, started early. Poor offensive line, didn't trust his body, and didn't trust his receivers, because other than Lynn Bowden, he was the only receiver that did not drop a pass all season. Right? We don't got to get into the Jakeem Grants and all those guys, but drop passes on third downs was like an epidemic for that team. So, you take that all into context. When you don't trust your body, you don't trust your protection, and you don't trust your receiving core, that's a mixture, especially when you don't trust your body fully yet. That's a mixture for disaster. And that can speed up your internal clock. That can not let you set your feet because you just want to get the ball out. So, and we've seen that. It looks like it's more of an issue of rushed footwork. It's not a matter of it's broken down or it's in shambles. It's more of rushed footwork, and it'd be simple things like he's not pointing, the tippy toes of his lead foot towards his intended target, the destination for the football. It's little stuff that you can clean up. It's just about being more aware of it, right? But those are never issues in Alabama, and I think they can get cleaned up. Better protection is going to clean it up, right? Better protection alone will clean it up, because when better protection cleans it up, he's going to get hit less. He'll trust his body more. It's a ripple effect. It is a ripple effect. So, I mean, we're talking about how many key third downs did, the offense, did the trenches just collapse on our side? They would hold sustain for the drive, and then we'd have a key third down where we need it, and boom, just collapse right in front of it. So, I think it's going to get cleaned up. We'll talk about the offensive line for real tonight in depth. Mauricio, I'm actually not, man. I'm actually going to just be rolling through this. We'll see how. I know everyone's talking about Parker and everything like that. You got to see how it's going to play out. You got to look at it from their standpoint, right? Because, I mean, in talking with Nick or Perform, McDaniel sounded like he had the goosies when he met Lynn Bowden. And when that happens, if you want my honest opinion, guys, let's go. If you want to talk about just strictly receivers or pass catchers, let's talk about pass catchers. If you talk about pass catchers, okay, in terms of priority, Tyreek, I'm sorry, it's just what it is. Tyreek, Waddle, then a tie between like Cedric, so like 3A and 3B, Cedric Wilson and Gesicki, then Lynn Bowden, then Parker. So fifth, right? If you want to go by 3A, 3B, he's fifth, but if you actually go by numbers, he's sixth, right? So, are you going to pay someone like that $6 million? You know, especially if that's going to take away now, especially, and they brought back Preston Williams. So, what's the point of bringing back Preston Williams? Now, hey, he may stick, he may be here. But I'll tell y'all right now, if they get a third or a fourth put on the table for them, y'all can wave and say your goodbyes to Devontae Parker. And that is not a knock on Devontae Parker. I'm just telling you what it is. Okay? Because you just look at the pecking order. The Tyreek Hill trade basically phased him out for good. Like, let's be real with each other. Now, can they keep him for 1 year for depth? Because if they don't get offers they like, sure. But I'll tell you right now, if they could dangle him in a trade somehow and solve the center issue, I guarantee you they would. I saw someone ask me earlier before I went live about Deebo Samuel. Okay, this is what I think I've said this live. I don't know if I've said this live, but I mean, I've told people like EM and stuff like this privately. So I think I've said this live, but I don't know. If we don't trade, if they don't trade for the reason why I don't stress the whole Deebo thing, if they don't trade for Deebo, I don't know if they're going to franchise tag him next year. And if they, because I expect his production to dip just because of it wasn't a coincidence that it went through the roof under Mike McDaniel when you actually look into how much time they spent together, right? And when you look at the stuff, the doors that were open to him and what he was allowed to do, a new offensive coordinator is not going to be that open, I don't think. Anyways, so that's why I don't by no means do I expect him to fall off the map, but I don't think he's going to be used as properly. Let's put it that way. So I think, and from what I understand, he's made it known, and multiple people have told me this. It's even like on 49ers Reddits and message boards and radio that he's let it be known internally that he doesn't want to be franchise tagged and he's going to be out the door. Now everything could change and they could sway him with money and he could sign an extension. But the whole reason why I'm not really stressing a Deebo trade is because I know if he doesn't get franchise tagged, he's going to be a Dolphin next year. I already know that. I'm pretty confident in that if Deebo does not get, he will be a Dolphin next year. I'm very confident in that. So, again, another wrinkle they can throw at teams next year when they when defenses start figuring this out. Okay, well now we add Deebo to the mix. Now what? That player alone, between being his backfield work and what he can do in either the slot or on the boundary, it's another weapon. And now it's another body they got to account for, and it's another upgrade. So, and Gesicki's going to be off the franchise tag, right? So that $11 million, like if you want me to be honest with you guys, and I'll tell you why, I'll show you why, the McDaniel will choose Deebo over Gesicki. I'm going to tell you that right now. Right now, prepare for that one. You got Hunter Long coming up on the cheap. Durham Smythe is already on the cheap, right? I'm telling you, they'll allocate that money towards Deebo. You watch, because they can use him in the backfield. They can use him in the boundary or the slot too. Basically, the only thing you're not doing him is in line, but see all the different things you can do with him compared to what, right now, at least Gesicki's kind of pigeonholed, right? So, we're talking about like a 4-dimensional player against kind of like right now at this stage in his career, Gesicki's a 1-dimensional player. Can he become 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional and by 2 or 3-dimensional, I mean, a better blocker and a better route runner added on. So another 1-dimension, 2-dimension, now he's 3-dimension. Sure. But Deebo's still going to offer you more. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? So you gotta be on the lookout for it. And it's the same thing. What did I tell y'all? Everyone in their feelings when I told them Duke Johnson ain't gonna come around. I told all of y'all when I do the 5 players you let walk, the 5 players you cut, the 5 players you bring back. When I did that show, everyone got in their feelings over Duke Johnson. Guess what? Victories, the team, and the scheme over feelings, baby. Sorry. And I told all of y'all, I said I loved Duke and what he did last year. All right? I defended Duke last night on another platform. So, I mean, I ain't hating, but I told all of y'all, and we'll see specifics today of what McDaniel said that I'll show all of y'all, which is exactly what Reason was saying. So remember, I don't do things out of spite when it comes to scheme or fits or anything like that. I just tell you to the best of my knowledge, and for the majority of the time, and it goes for the same thing with EM. For the majority of the time, when it comes to me and EM telling all of y'all about schemes and athletic profiles and fits, me and EM are pretty much right 90% of the time, at least. So it was nothing against Duke. I want people to realize that, because Duke was one of the bright spots last year on the back half of the season. So I ain't hating on him. I actually liked Duke last year. The guy actually showed up. In the Tennessee game, he was him and Christian Wilkins are the only guys who got off the bus. So I got no problem with Duke all day. All day. But you had to know what we were moving to. And I tried to keep explaining to you guys, this is what we're going to, blah, 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 blah. This is why Austin Jackson. How much pushback did I get? Oh, Eichenberg. What did Barry Jackson say? And I showed all y'all a couple days ago. Austin Jackson, they're intrigued. They want to see my right tackle. I'm telling all y'all, that's why they're not worried about. People are trying to make the left tackle thing bigger than they think. They got the guy in-house in Austin Jackson. I'm telling all of you. Whether they're right or wrong, it's the same thing with, hey, what did we say about Brian Flores? It's the same thing, because we didn't just say about Brian Flores, we generalized it. By we, I mean Mr. Ballgame. If you listen to the finish line when Ballgame comes up here or whatever, what do you always say? Ego, man. With all these coaches, it's ego. They think they can get players right. Again, athletic profile traits, you got them. Okay, I can coach you up. I can get you right. Austin Jackson's no different. It's going to be a battle between him and Eichenberg. But I think you look at Jackson, he's got better athletic profile traits. Right? So, usually that wins out. Because if you can coach the guy who's more athletically gifted, longer arms, bigger body, 334 or whatever he is, and he hasn't even gotten his anchor and grown man strength. If you can get his hand placement, his punching, if you can get his footwork, his kick slide, if you can get all that stuff, like really, if you can coach that up, you'll have something. You'll have something, man. I'm telling you right now. You'll have something. Trust me. So whether they can get him there or not, that's up to them. But we got a damn good coaching staff. Between Mike McDaniel and Frank Smith alone, let's go. You look at what Matt Applebaum did at Boston College. Oh, we got a good coaching staff. So we'll see. I'm going to tell you this way. Let's put it this way. The same way it is for Tua in terms of like, okay, you got it. It's year 3. Let's put it out all on the table. Let's take that leap and let's start going with the ceiling we know you have. Let's start making our way. Because if you look at it, he got better he was making throws in 2021. He wasn't making in 2020, i.e., you look at the corner, you look at that corner throw to Waddle, the back shoulder corner throw to Waddle in the Ravens game. He wasn't making that throw in year 1. So you see certain things, right? Anyways, now we need to see, a big step here. And what I like about it is they've done the same stuff that basically Cincinnati did, right? Cincinnati last year added like Jackson Carman, Riley Reef, a couple guys through the draft. And they got it up to 22nd ranked offensive line, but by adding Jamar Chase, the ripple effect it had down where now, okay, T. Higgins is now number 2, Tyler Boyd is number 3, CJ Uzomah is the 4th passing threat. Then you got to worry about Joe Mixon out of the backfield, because earlier I didn't even talk about Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert out of the backfield. So you look at all that, And, we kind of put that on steroids if you think about it. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. We made better offensive line additions than the Bengals did last year. Okay. We've upgraded our receiving core better than the Bengals did last year. I would say we have a better receiving core than the Bengals right now. Right? Especially CJ Uzma's gone. I love Joe Mixon. People I think the world of Joe Mixon. He's a top 10 guy in the league. But I think together, Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, if Mostert stays healthy, but then with Salvon Ahmed chipping in, and they're going to draft someone. I'm telling you, they're going to draft someone. I think those guys combined with what we want to do, I don't think they'll be Joe Mixon, but I don't think they'll be like light years off. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think they'll be, slightly behind. They won't, so we'll get slightly less production from the run game than what Joe Mixon's going to give them. And under the backfield as a pass catcher with a mixture of we're going to put together and what we're going to look to execute. Right? Like Terron Armstead and Connor Williams are better than anything they have on their offensive line right now. Robert Hunt, you could make the argument, is right there with Jonah Williams and whoever you want to name on their offensive line. So you look at how it's being formulated. You look at how it's being put together. You look at how the mad scientist McDaniel is working. Man, you got to like it. You got to like it. So, but hey, just like Tua, Austin Jackson, well, especially Noah Benogany, the most of them, they got to take a leap this year to earn their spot next year. The tide is finally turning for this franchise. I'm 27 and haven't got this franchise win and haven't got to see this franchise win much. So excited for the next few years. Fins up, baby. Oh, man. So what are you, like a 95, baby? Basically 96, 95. Yeah, man. I mean, the highlight for you was the Zach Thomas defensive years, basically with Jason Taylor and, Cam Wake and Ricky Williams. But other than that, I feel you, man. I'm sorry, Junior. But I appreciate you, Junior. Thank you very much. And hey, bro, I'm telling you, I said it when we hired McDaniel. I'll say it again. This time feels different. I don't know what it is. It feels different. This don't feel like Philbin, Cam Cameron. This feels more positive and with a better outlook long term than Brian Flores. This just feels different. Like, none of those guys assembled the staff we have right out of the gate. The only comparable staff to this are the staff that we've seen in the last, 15 years or 15 years. Yeah. Well, let's say like 12 years. Well, let's say 15 years. We're probably the Sperano staffs. Yeah, I like Dameon Pierce from Florida. He made my top 15 when I did my running back big board. So exactly, Topher. Joe Mixon out here putting up 1K seasons without Burrow and with a crappy offensive line and no quarterback. Joe Mixon's special, man. Just like Austin Eckler, Isn't it funny how Joe Mixon has the best offensive line he's ever had, even though it was only 22nd overall last year, and Austin Eckler has the best offensive line he ever had, and those guys put up career numbers. Who would have thought? Who would have thought, bro? Not me. Not the guy who in 2019, when I was on TD Finstock before we even drafted a quarterback, said, I don't care who you draft, whether it's Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Jordan Love, Jacob Eason, I don't care. I said, build the O-line that at the time Oakland, it wasn't Vegas yet, had, or Indianapolis had. Give us an offensive line. I said, build a wall for whoever comes in here. But here's the thing. Remember, I go back to the guys who got to take the three names who I think we all agree need to take the biggest leap this year. And I mean, you could pitch Solomon Kindley in here too, because he's from the same draft class, I guess. But the 3 first-round picks, Austin Jackson, Tua, and Noah. First of all, Tua's at least flashed. He's shown flashes that I could be a franchise quarterback if you invest around me properly. Which is why I've never called him a franchise quarterback yet. He's shown flashes that he could be. Austin Jackson hasn't shown flashes he can be a franchise left tackle. Noah Monogany hasn't even shown flashes he can be a competent player. But this is how much I believe in our offensive coaching staff. I think they can get, if I just gave you my assessment of where I think Austin Jackson is, and I tell you I think this coaching staff can get Austin Jackson to potentially more than a serviceable tackle at the NFL level, and we've seen what we've seen. What do you think I think they can get Tua to, the guys who's actually flashed franchise potential at times and with certain plays? What do you think that, huh? I'm telling you. That tells you how highly I think of this staff. That tells you how high. Listen, Frank Smith was one of the guys pounding the table for Terron Armstead to be drafted in New Orleans when he was the assistant offensive line coach there. You look at Austin Jackson profile. Closest thing we got to Terron Armstead is that man. Why do you think they brought in Terron Armstead too? To be the leader and for Austin Jackson can lean on him. Same thing with Tua. Tua got a higher ceiling than Jimmy G. What have I been kept telling all y'all? Before we even signed McDaniel, what was I saying? Last season, what was I saying? In the right offense, I was saying, he can be better than Alex Smith was. Lo and behold, we go out and we get someone from the franchise. Now, they weren't the same people, but, that's the same franchise that turned around Alex Smith when they started getting the right coaching staff together. Now you got guys who they made Jimmy G an overachiever and Alex Smith had a higher ceiling. Tua's got a high, the same coaching staff that got Kirk Cousins to what he is today. We're instrumental in that. And guess what? Tua's got a higher ceiling than Kirk Cousins as a passer. See, the thing is, I think at best we've seen the floor of Tua. At worst. At worst, we've seen the floor of Tua, which is like competent NFL starter. That's the thing. And by the way, saying Tua has no ceiling is not a diss. I mean, go put on Lil Wayne, no ceilings. That's basically saying you've got no glass ceiling. You got a breakthrough. You have no ceiling. Like, so if someone's trying to diss Tua saying Tua has no ceiling, I don't know what you're trying to say. Tua has a ceiling, but what did I tell y'all when he was coming out? Tua's ceiling was like Drew Brees meets Russell Wilson. But ceiling, you need to get coached up, you need personnel around you, and you need the right environment. I'm trying to look at did Tua even have one of those three things? One. Just give me one of those. But guess what? Now he's got pretty much all three. I think we can all agree that, the moves this team has made from the coaching staff down to the personnel on the offensive line to the weapons, and we haven't even hit the draft. This is the best position Tua has ever been in to succeed on this team, and arguably the best position any quarterback in a long time wearing the aqua and orange has been in to succeed. So we'll see how it works out. Game's still got to be played. We can talk about it all we want, but there's going to be a time where it's got to be shown and it's got to be proven. But you know what? I've been consistent all along. While people were out here saying, hey, I want to see Tua with Sean Payton in New Orleans, I was the one saying, I want to see him under Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco, and I got my wish. Because I knew this would be the perfect situation. And the extension we got of Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel, I think is going to be one of the best extensions of the Shanahan tree there is in the NFL. People can go back to last year and hear how high I was on him last year when we were looking into him as an OC. I love what we got. I love our coach. I think we actually have a legit genius. And our defense is put in a position where, hey, other than some changes to the coaching staff on the defensive side with Surtain and Madison, which I think we can all agree, we didn't want to lose Gerald Alexander, but Surtain and Madison is as good of a freaking consolation prize as we could all have possibly conjured up. Boyer's got his chance to prove, hey, were you the one calling the plays? Were you the mastermind behind it, or was it Flores? And we put him in that position by keeping everything intact. Ogba's around. We have basically said, all right, that defense that showed up in 8 of the last 9 games and was lights out, if you give us that play combined with what we're putting together offensively, is 12 or 13 wins really out of the realm of possibility? Is that really out of the question? We haven't even seen the draft yet. So let's see this. Let's get into this. Dan Orlovsky. Again, people out here who can't break down film but think their opinion on Twitter or YouTube or whatever, or Facebook or whatever platform they think it matters. Once again, we got another guy, an ex-guy, not just Kurt Warner, not just Peyton Manning, but another guy who played at the highest level there is in the NFL. This is what he had to say about Tua Tagovailoa. And guess what? This guy trumps all of our opinions combined. He's played it. He sat in on the meetings. He played against NFL defenses. And this is what Dan Orlovsky had to say about how will Tyreek Hill affect Tua Tagovailoa next season.
On his team, what is Tua Tagovailoa now in Miami?
I think Tua becomes a top 12 player at the position.
Let's go, baby.
I just don't want people to expect him to become something that he isn't, nor has he ever been. And I know Teddy referenced, like, if he doesn't do his best Patrick Mahomes in moments, he's not Patrick.
Nope.
He's not going to be the guy
He's
that
a
runs around and
facilitator.
throws the ball across
He's a
his
point
body
guard.
40 yards. But I think that the Miami Dolphins with Tua and now with Tyreek Hill can become
passer.
basketball on grass, and he just has to
Let's
play
go.
elite-level point guard. I would tell you this, if I had to ask everybody at home paying attention and people on this show right now, what quarterback last year threw the ball at or behind the line of scrimmage most in the NFL, who would you say? It's Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball at or behind the line of scrimmage the most last year in the NFL.
What have I been
he just
telling
so happened
everyone?
to have Tyreek Hill. That's what's going to be this offense right now. And I get your point, Teddy, of saying, like, he's got to throw the ball downfield, and you know this just as much as anybody. I think there's 2 ways you throw the ball downfield in the NFL. You either have a freakazoid, a Julio Jones, a DeAndre Hopkins,
go
where
up
you can
and
go,
get
my
it.
guy better than your guy, I'm going to throw it downfield, or you've got to be phenomenal at the play-action pass. Mike McDaniel, their new head coach, is going to be phenomenal designing stuff to create chunks in that play-action game. And I just think this offense is going to be basketball on grass with their speed and physicality on the offensive line now.
I mean, is he wrong? Someone tell me he's wrong. I keep telling all of y'all, there's going to be a learning curve for defenses in the NFL right now. With what we're going to be throwing at them schematically, RPO, true play action, read options, our screen game, the wrinkles we're going to have in our screen game. You know, a lot of condensed packages, a lot of 20, 21, 22 man personnel packages. Remember, under Mike McDaniel, they had a lead blocker 44% of the time last year. We only ran at about like 17% or something like that with a lead blocker. See, what people don't realize, and I keep telling all of you this, You don't need bombs. You don't need 50, 60, 70-yard bombs, multiple of them a game to win in the NFL. What do you need at the position? Efficiency. Efficiency wins. I keep trying to tell all of y'all this, and it keeps falling on deaf ears. And what reason? What do you mean by efficiency? High completion percentage. Put your receivers in positions to make plays. And that also comes through the scheme by getting them in one-on-one matchups in open space. Don't turn the ball over, which was a problem for Tua last year. Move the chains. Take the chunk yardage underneath. Go over top of them only when it presents itself. Don't force throws. Be efficient with the football and passing the football. That's what Burrow did on the Bengals Super Bowl run. They didn't get 500 yards a game, five touchdowns a game, Joe Burrow, on their Super Bowl run. They got a guy, take care of the football, make the plays when they present themselves. That's what Brady literally made a living off that. Literally. Eat you up underneath and on the intermediate level, and when the plays present themselves up the seam or over top, make them. There's going to be about 3 or 4, maybe 5 plays a game offensively. Usually about 3 or 4 throws a game that you got to make. That'll just determine the outcome. And that's not a 60-yard bomb all the time. That's not anything like that. That's like a 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 12. And then all of a sudden you complete that, momentum swings, you drive down the field, you punch it in. Stuff like that. Little stuff like that. So, or busted coverage, it presents itself, you got to make the throw because that can swing the game. There's going to be usually about 3 or 4 times a game that are going to present themselves where you make that throw and you are helping determine the outcome of the football game. Other than that, just be efficient with the football. Don't be dumb with it. How do you think Tampa and Baltimore won with Trent Dilfer and Brad Johnson? Now, you can have guys with obviously more elite skill sets than said players, like i.e. Tom Brady. But when you ask them to do the same thing, right? Like if you look at even how they came back from 28-3, Brady was just extremely efficient. He was just extremely efficient. Making every throw when it presented itself, boom, make the throw. Didn't miss one and brought him back. And that's what was so intriguing about Tua's skill set coming to the next level. The thing is, he just hasn't been the same. He doesn't have the same torque, and he hasn't been the same athlete he was before the hip injury. And because the Dolphins had asked him to bulk up a little bit, we saw last offseason, that's why he leaned down his body percentage. And he's actually trying to lean down his body fully this year from how he bulked up last season. And, that affected his touch over the intermediate level. He was having problems with dagger throws last offseason. And that was just because the bulking up was affecting his touch a little bit. So, and these are all things that are being fixed. I've seen videos privately, and there's some people who are mods here that have seen the videos of the torque is coming back. And, you want to see the athleticism come back and the torque come back and him get that touch back and, and be coached better. A lot of that predetermining stuff, if he, I did notice one good trend too, right? Like you'd see him miss a read, like let's say in the fourth quarter, and then they'd come back to that same look in the 3rd or 4th quarter, just like a little wrinkle to it, but it's the same look, and he would make the throw. Or if it was like in the 3rd or 4th quarter where he missed the read, they'd come back to it in the next game or the game after, and he'd make the read. So that tells me he saw it on film, he adjusted, he did that stuff, And as the years go, as we get into year 3, he's seen a lot now. He's seen a lot in terms of defensively. And remember, even a guy like Mahomes, a guy who said he couldn't read defenses in year 1, year 2, even he said year 3 is when it started going on. So, I'm fully confident that with our coaching staff, with the offense, with the personnel put around him, Tua is going to take a significant leap. I do not think top 12 is really out of question here. I really don't think that's out of question here. So, I mean, Tyreek, I've gone over this. You know, I don't expect 15 to 1600 yards, but you could average 5 yards per air on each throw, and he's still going to turn that into 1100 yards on the season. So, and he's just a touchdown waiting to happen. So, and then now Waddle with his because here's the thing. I said this before. Mahomes, this is where the Mahomes comparison isn't even really good. Tua's got better weapons. Waddle's a better number 2 than Tyreek ever had behind him. Cedric's a better 3 than what they ever had there. You know, Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert are way more productive than Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's been at the level right now. If you look at the Super Bowl run, they had to rely on guys like Damian Williams and such. So, you know, other than Kelsey, obviously, when I'm just talking strictly receiving core, right? And then, hey, he's not Kelsey, but Gesicki's a threat up the seam. So there's a lot more to account for in our offense than there was, you know, weapon-wise already. And again, we haven't even hit the draft. So we'll see how it works out. But like I said, they put him in the best position to succeed possible. And especially for only trying to turn it over in one offseason, like kudos to them. But they've also put any quarterback we've had in recent memory. I mean, this is the best offense we've assembled since the Unicorn in 2016 when we had Tunsil as a guard with Brandon Albert, you know, and Pouncey. And even that offense, I don't think was as good as this one right now. Offensive line was obviously a little bit better. Maybe, yeah, because Pouncey, right? And we had more stability at right tackle then. So right tackle and center was better. But, you know, we'll see. Guys, the financials for Terron Armstead's deal came out, and they look like this. In year 1, his cap hit is only $3.9 million. What does that mean for us, guys? That means that our current cap space, we're sitting at $11.723 million in cap space right now, and we could add someone. You know, with over 11 million, like we only need a couple million right now for our draft class. We no longer have a first round pick. You look at these cap hits, tell me that is not so super reasonable. That is, check your pulse if that don't get you hype, baby. Like, look at that. Like, that is absolutely a fantastic deal. That is absolutely fantastic. I love it, man. That is beautiful, man. And guys, think about it. X is only going to cost you about another 3 or 4 million because he's already against the cap right now for 16.358 million. So if he wants to get paid 20 million, that's only going to shave 4 million off that. That brings us down to 7 million. So right now, X is over 16 million against the cap. We have 11.723 million. So if they want to increase him by 3 million, you're taking just 3 million off that 11 million. So now we're down to 8 million. Let's go, baby. Oh, I can feel it, baby. I'm telling you, we win the playoff game this year. I'm telling you. Man, I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong on this. I think we're going to the playoffs, baby. I really, truly believe this, man. I think we're going to come out of the gates and we're just going to come out swinging and people aren't going to know what the hell hit them. I think our offense is going to get us the lead. Boyer's going to start throwing the zero blitz packages, and we're going to start getting into the exotic looks into that, into the rubies and the diamonds and all that stuff. And then boom. I really believe that, man. Storm Warrior, I don't think we're gonna get Wagner, man. I think the Wagner's down to the Rams or the Ravens, dude. But just so in case anyone was curious, we can actually get out of this contract. So his dead cap in 2022 is this year's 30.1. It's 26.6 in 2023. It's 7.2 in 2024. But then you can get out of it in 2025. His dead cap is only 4.8, and you would have, you know, decent cap savings. And then in 2026, his dead cap is only 2.4. So your cap savings, you'd save just over $8 million in 2025 if you got rid of him. And you would save about $10 million in 2026 if you got rid of him. So, but I think he can play elite to a high level into his mid-30s. And so look at Trent Williams. Trent Williams is a year or two older than him, and look at what he's playing at like right now. So let's go, man. Let's go, baby. So those are the breakdowns and the numbers for Terron Armstead's deal. We've been waiting for those to come out. They're finally out. And again, the Miami Dolphins, $11.723 million right now. And X already has a $16.35 million cap number. So even if you want to give him 19 million this year, slap another 3 on that, we're still sitting pretty at 8.723 million. So a lot of flexibility. Chris Greer has worked his magic. Absolutely love it, man. As Rome Gray would say, cash Greer, baby. Like, unbelievable work. You gotta let's all take a moment. You gotta give an applause to Chris Greer for what he's worked. You look at the cap hits this year for even Tyreek and stuff. Unbelievable work. Great. I'm usually a believer in front loading, but the window he's created a 4-year window with elite talent on this team. I can't hate by any stretch. So as you saw in the title, and I spoke about earlier, Ben Baldwin, who's a contributor to The Athletic, he came out with this chart, and I'm going to explain it to you right now because I know you're going to see us at 9 and be like, what the hell? Yes, if you look at our percentile, we are projected in pass protection expectations to actually, be the 9th best team in the NFL. And basically I want to explain to you guys how it works. So what they did is they took 5 listed starter for each team from our lads. And just so you know, Austin Jackson is not a starter on our lads. Eichenberg is the starting our right tackle. Hunt's the right guard. Dieter's the center. Connor Williams is left guard. Terron Armstead is the left tackle. So they took the 5 listed starters for each team. Basically based on most recent PFF grade, who could we expect to have the best and worst pass protection in 2022? And you can obviously see that 32 is the Seattle Seahawks. You can wonder why they left. And what they did was they used something called a padding method of players who didn't play much last year. So, like, for example, if you go to the Green Bay Packers, David Bacchiardi, his 2021 grade doesn't tell us about what to expect in 2022 because he barely played. So they put more weight on playing time and his grade going up in 2022. So, like, even you can see the Bengals, their offensive line, they've gone up from 22 to 12, right? And that's, they've added Ted Karras. They got him listed as a guard, and then you look at Jackson Carman and their projection on his year 2 leap, and that's how it works out. So, they expect a year 2 leap from Eichenberg. That factors in. And then Hunt continued to trend up the way he has. And then obviously Terron Armstead and Connor Williams, Connor is one of the best run blocking guards in the NFL. Terron Armstead's one of the best pass blocking, and Connor Williams a fantastic pass blocker too, right? So And then Dieter was okay in pass blocking too. So if you go by the projections, we could be going from, at least by the expectations of the Athletic, that we should be going from, remember, we were 32 last year. If we get a top 9 offensive line in pass pro, Tua will give you top 12 numbers. This adds to what we were talking about earlier and what Dan Orlovsky said. I keep telling y'all, it's changed the dynamic. Everyone's like, well, the blind side. I said, okay. And I agree with all of y'all. I agree with you. But I also have said what I've said about Austin Jackson the whole time, that in this scheme and under this staff, he's going to be more than salvageable because of his athletic profile. Dieter, too. You'll only get better. I still think, and they've said multiple times, they're looking to bring in competition. And I've said they're going to bring in Alec Lindstrom from Boston College, if anything. Watch. But, the expectations, I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to go top 10, but it would be nice. Let's go top 20. If we can jump from 32 to top 20 this year, that would be a fantastic jump for us. And I think we'd all be happy. Anything above that, like top 15, we'd be over the moon. Top 10 would be giddy like schoolgirls. So, you know what I mean? Like, just give me top 20. But the expectation, if you look at current player trajectories, players we've brought in that are now got to be accounted for in pass pro, we are expected to be a top 10 team in the NFL in pass protection. And this plays off of Dan Orlovsky and the point he was trying to make, that, with the Miami Dolphins moves this offseason, Tua could be in a position to be a top 12 guy this season. And if we are top 10 in pass pro with these weapons, things are going to happen, my friends. Plays are going to be made and touchdowns are going to be scored. You can best believe that. Check your pulse, baby. Let's go. Guys, I think it's relevant to us because we go into the playoffs this year. I don't care what anyone tries to tell me. The new playoff overtime rules were announced today. Both teams will have the opportunity to now possess the ball in overtime in the postseason. So, for example, Josh Allen would have got the ball last year. If the score is tied after each team has possessed the ball, the next score wins. See, now what's being talked about here is, okay, if I'm the second team to get the ball and you scored a touchdown and you kicked the extra point, do I go for 2 and just end the game? Because the second team, if they score a touchdown and they add the 2-point conversion, after each team has one possession, you're going to be up by a point. So is this going to turn into the first team possession? If they get a touchdown, they're going to try and go for 2 right away? So this is some interesting stuff. And then obviously if the kicking team off, the team kicking off to start the overtime period scores a safety on the receiving team's initial possession, the team that kicked off is a winner. So basically, if we're playing the Chiefs in the first round and we kick off, we go to overtime and we kick the ball off and we pin them back and Mahomes takes a sack and we get a safety on their first possession, we win the ball game. So, and this is only for the playoffs, everyone. This is not for the regular season. And, people are asking, well, why are they adding why are they making these changes or whatever? Well, there is an explanation as to why. And a couple of those points are as follows, guys. The former overtime format, not sudden death unless the team that gets the ball first scores a TD, was implemented in 2010 playoffs and in 2012 regular season. So that tells you they're going to try these new rules for at least 2 years in the playoffs. And if it works out, then they'll implement them full time. But under the former overtime format, there have been 164 overtime games, including playoffs. Teams that have won the overtime coin toss have a record of 86, 68, and 10 in those games. So they've won 52.4% of the time. Under the former overtime format, there have been 12 overtime playoff games. Teams that won the overtime coin toss have a record of 10-2 in those games, have won 83.3% of the time. So you can see it's really lopsided when you get to the playoffs. Only teams to lose were Saints in 2018, NFC Championship game against the Rams, and Chiefs in 2021, AFC Championship game against the Bengals. 7 of those 10 teams scored the sudden death touchdown on the opening drive. So there you go. 10-2 if you won the coin toss in playoffs, and then of those 10 wins, 7 just got the touchdown off the rip to end the game. So they want to see the other teams for the ratings, for the talking points, for the water cooler discussion the next day. They want to see the next team get it. So that's how overtime in the playoffs is going to look this year. And I expect for us to potentially have to deal with that. Let's go, baby. Armando Salguero reported today that the Dolphins, Bengals, and Vikings voted against the overtime rule changes. Vote was 29-3. So the Dolphins apparently didn't want anything to do with the new overtime rule. They were like, you know what? We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to score a touchdown right away, and we're going to keep it moving, baby. We're going to keep it moving. So very, very interesting that we apparently were one of the teams that voted against it. So, and I know there are memes out there talking crap about the teams that voted against it. I don't mind the overtime rules. I'm down for extra possessions. I'm down for extra football. Eugene, you're 110% right. I wish September was tomorrow. Let's go. So there you go. And then interesting here. You have no quarterback. Look at this guy. You guys have no quarterback. Bro. Patrick Mahomes, most of his passes, like I said yesterday on another platform, and like I've said on this platform multiple times before, all of his throws came. Most of his throws to Tyreek Hill came at the line of scrimmage. No one had more completed passes at the line of scrimmage last year than Patrick Mahomes. So what does that tell you? The jabroni in the comments section could make the throws that Mahomes was making. Stop. Tua going to be just fine, and you're going to come back here, and you're going to eat crow. And then we're going to laugh at you. So deep receiving touchdown leader since 2016, Tyreek Hill has 28. 28. This man, and another guy you guys know I'm all a fan of, Tyler Lockett with 20. But 28. And you watch, and not all of them are 60-yard bombs. In fact, the majority of them are the intermediate level. All right? Or at the line of scrimmage, and he just takes it to the house. Let's go. This man is a touchdown waiting to happen. And remember, deep only means 20-plus yards as well, FYI. Right? So, you got short level, 1 to 10 yards. Intermediate level, 10 to 20. Deep is 20-plus. So that's just 20-plus yards. So let's go. Let's go. Just get this man the ball and watch it happen. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. Unbelievable stuff. Absolutely love every minute of it, baby. Tyreek Hill. I cannot wait. Remember, after we get through draft season, I'm going to drop a couple film studies for y'all. Terron Armstead film study coming. Tyreek Hill film study coming. And then on top of that, we're going to do a Jaylen Waddle rookie season film study. But this weekend, we're going to be dropping the inside linebacker big board for y'all. So let's go, baby. You know what? Because I know people have been a big subject. People have been talking about is, who's going to be the Deebo in this offense? And I know a lot of people were like, well, at least before the trade, a lot of us were like, it makes sense that Lynn Bowden be, that he's going to get that look. And then now, you look at what Tyreek offers you as a playmaker, just as an absolute ridiculous athlete. I mean, you talk about players in the NFL. If you want to exclude quarterbacks, we're talking about a guy. He's top he's at least top 5 in the NFL if you exclude quarterbacks. And I think Jaylen Waddle was well on his way to being top 10. I think we can all agree that. But if you're wondering how Tyreek Hill could be used in this offense, well, here's a little preview of what we're gonna see and some little ways they could be using Tyreek Hill. Because I'm telling you right now, the explosiveness, everything that this guy offers, man, is next level. I don't think people understand how dynamic this player is. I really don't think, and we'll go through a little preview here, because we gotta at least show it, right? So let's go through a little preview here. Little preview here. Look at this man out of the backfield. Look, it finds the hole, the vision. Let's look at keeping this man on a string with the angles he's taking. Again, this is his rookie season with Alex Smith. Look at out wide. Once he gets that sideline, cuts back in. Look at how quickly he cuts on a dime, and he's gone. No one's keeping up with him. Again, give him out of the backfield. Just too quick, too slippery. And look at just his footwork is keeping defenders on their heels. Look at the reverse pitch. Look at men losing their feet out and ankles out here. He gets a nice block upfield and he's gone. I mean, look at this. And then another, what is this? What are you going to be able to do? And this is just him out of the backfield right now. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Look at you make people miss in the backfield. The things we are going to be able to do in this offense. Reverse. Look at that. Unbelievable stuff. I'm telling you right now, this is what we added. This is what we made and this is, we haven't even shown him as a pass catcher and route runner yet. Wait till we get into that stuff. But I'm just showing everyone wanted to see the Deebo stuff. Well, as much as Bowden could do that, Tyreek offers you another level. I mean, he's got the top end speed that, let's be honest, was never had by Deebo. But that's just a preview of what we're going to get into. All right. Don't worry. We're going to get into just to show you this man creates touchdowns behind the line of scrimmage. You don't even need people to throw balls to him. So let's stop right now. Be afraid, AFC East. Be very afraid. Because the guy who had the best chance of figuring it out let J.C. Jackson walk. How afraid should people be, really? Well, let's talk about it, because Andy Reid, even he kind of let people know what the deal was. And fans know about new Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill's elite speed, but Chiefs coach Andy Reid says that's hardly the only quality that makes Hill special. He can run all the routes. I've told y'all he's an elite route runner. He's good at all of them. There's not one he's not good at. He got an elite release off the line of scrimmage too. Reid told Barry Jackson in the hallway at the Breakers in Palm Beach during the NFL owner meetings. He's a heck of a player, great person, loving kid. He'll do a tremendous job for the Dolphins. He's smart. And oh yes, he can run fast. He's Reid said, one of the NFL's best coaches, stating the obvious in an endearing way. Reid believed Hill also will help second-year receiver Jaylen Waddle. They'll do a nice job, Reid said. He'll work with Waddle too. Waddle is a young guy. Tyreek is a veteran player. They'll work well together. It wasn't easy for the Chiefs to give up a player who has made the Pro Bowl in all 6 of his NFL seasons and caught 56 touchdowns. But Kansas City was pleased with the return from Miami, the 29th and 50th picks in this month's draft. 4th rounders this April, next April, and a 6th rounder next April. And ultimately, Kansas City didn't want to pay Hill's asking price after agent Drew Rosenhaus saw the wide receiver market explode and asked the Chiefs for a new deal. There were several $1 million separating the Dolphins and Chiefs' final offers. The deal ended up being good for the Dolphins and good for us, Reid said. There's a yin and yang to everything. Love it. I love Andy Reid. You can handle it any way you want to handle it. We felt like Tyreek deserved an opportunity. We came in aggressive, and then after we got to a point, we just said, hey, listen, in this day and age, you have issues that you have to deal with the cap. So we felt like it was better to allow him to go ahead and be traded. You can go different routes. You can play hardball with the player and do that, or you can kind of go about it the way I did or we did. Reid told reporters that the cap never gets far away from your thought process because you're always dealing with it. So Chiefs general manager Brett Veach has to sit there and manage with guys, and if you want to keep consistency throughout years, you got to be able to do that and still stay at a high level. So I love Tyreek Hill. There was no rift between Tyreek and myself. I thought he deserved an opportunity, and that's where he wanted to go. He's a family man with a few kids, and he's got to be able to support them now and down the road, and that gives him the opportunity to do that. Put him in a place where he has a home. At the same time, it gave us great compensation. So there you go. Worked out for both sides in the long run, right? So you got to respect it. You got to love it, man. Hours later, in an outdoor terrace at the Breakers, Dolphins general manager Chris Grier explained the team's decision to make Hills the NFL highest paid receiver, as other moves were being made around the league and you start seeing structures of the contract. It's about adding a player with such a unique talent for what Mike McDaniel and I were talking about, for what we need in our offense, a dynamic catch and run guy with Jaylen Waddle and Cedric Wilson. Arguably, Tyreek is the best run after the catch receiver in the league. Arguably, he is, Chris. So the opportunity to add to the offense, what he does, the skill set we were looking for, we couldn't pass on that. When you do a deal like that, you talk to ownership and President Tom Garfinkel, and they were fantastic in terms of what we were looking for. And team executive Brandon Shore, I've told you he does all the contract negotiation, did a great job of working through the deal. Now on just having 5 picks, Grier said, like you said, I've showed you all that. He talked about building the last couple of years, and they feel good about the players they've drafted and what they've added. And then obviously he reflected on the Larry Tunsil trade. And he talked about how he was crying because he was such a good guy. But, he talked about it yesterday about how, in terms of return, he would have never guessed it would have led to all this. So here you go. Right here, I want to show you guys this. We hear the Dolphins initially had interest in re-signing free agent running back Duke Johnson, but ultimately decided against it because McDaniel thought there were better fits for his zone running scheme. See? I'm telling y'all, this is not personal. I told all y'all I loved Duke Johnson, but the fact of the matter was, what we were going to run, the scheme told you it wasn't a fit. And there you go. McDaniel said, you know what? Sure, we can bring him back, but he doesn't ultimately fit what I want to do. So it's not a knock against the player. It's not like the player's not good. It's, again, profile and fit. That's what people need to realize. That's not personal. That's football. Shout out to God's Child. He said, shout out from Orange Country, Cali. I'm from Miami. Finns are coming to West Coast this year. I'm going and excited. That would be my first Dolphins game. Which jersey should I cop? Love your vids. God's Child, the safest bet right now for you is a Tyreek Hill jersey or a Waddle jersey or a Holland jersey. I'm saying get that white Holland. Or get one of those players in the throwback, and I don't think you can miss, bro. But have fun at the game, man. Go out to a Dolphins game this year. When the schedule's released, I know I'm going to be going to training camp this year, and I'll be going to a game, so I'll be keeping y'all posted on what game. And then finally here, he says the Breakers isn't far from one of Dolphins owner Stephen Ross's homes. So Ross took the opportunity to invite his top football people, including Coach Mike McDaniel and his wife, to dinner at his home Monday night. And Ross has spoken to reporters at past owner meetings, but this time around didn't. Obviously, we know why. And more things to be positive about, guys. Look at who the homie Jaylen Waddle is out here putting in the work in with. Jamar Chase and Chad Ochocinco. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Big year. These two are going to continue to take next steps. Hey, I ain't afraid to admit when I was wrong about a player. I was really wrong about Jamar Chase last year. He made me crow real hard. You're not going to win them all. So he's an absolute stud last year. So working out with Ocho, Love to see it, man. And you know what I like to see, man? Waddle and Jamar Chase were absolutely phenomenal last year. They're working together. Greats wanting to get better together, get greater together, and working out with a great like Ochocinco. Just lay off the McDonald's, boys. Lay off the McDonald's. All right. And then in case you guys were curious, the latest update regarding the Flores stuff right now is this. The NFL has appointed former U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, Mary Jo White, to lead its investigation of tanking and integrity of the game allegations against the Dolphins. So we had heard they wanted to go into an arbitration. That's where they were trying to go. Looks like the investigation is going a little bit further here. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all works out. Hey, man, if you think they're coming for the picks, move them, baby. Move them. Move them. Get rid of them. Get them out of the house, baby. If you think they're coming for them, get them out. Get them out. Guys, I want to tell each and every one of you, I appreciate all of y'all for coming out. Guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We're about to hit 7,500. We just passed 7,400 yesterday, or 2 days ago or something like that. So let's get, let's get to 8K by the end of the draft. Let's get to 10K by this season. Let's go, man. Let's get into the serious digits. Let's move on up. I appreciate all y'all have been sharing, showing love, sharing in the positivity. It just feels different this year, man. And I don't know how you check your pulse, man. How you not excited, man? How are you not excited with what's being put together right now? What the team it looks like we're about to field. It's been absolutely beautiful to watch. This has been a fantastic offseason so far to watch unravel, and I don't think they're done. I mean, what if they find someone they really like in that first round or in that second round and they want to move back up? Because that trade for Tyreek, those picks, the money they put towards Tyreek, the money they put Terron Armstead, they are all in right now. They have pushed their chips into the middle of the table and said, let's go. We are all in. It's absolutely it's phenomenal to see. And I go back to the defense. They've kept the defense intact that can hold leads, that can hold teams. And they vastly upgraded an offense that looks like it might be able to, if everything goes well, there could be games where we're scoring points at will. We finally are putting together an offense to complement what our defense has been giving us. Let's hope it all works out. Let's hope it all comes together. I think we got the staff in place for all that to happen. But I'm telling you, we've all been wondering about an offense to complement that defense. And guys, we're seeing it come to fruition right before our eyes. And it's a beautiful thing right now, because here's the thing. I've said this before, I've said it again. Whether Tua works out or not, if he doesn't, the next guy's set up for success. If Tua does work out, that means he takes the leap this year and we're a playoff team. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to get the leap from Tua this year. We're going to be a playoff team. I have a feeling we're going to win a game, and we're going to be building off that heading into year 2 with potentially a lot of draft capital. So what does that mean? Potential blue chip talent on cheap contracts. Added to what we're already putting together, that's got to excite you. Now, I know we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but I got a good feeling, baby. Let's go. I truly believe there's going to be an adaptation period for defenses and coordinators, a learning curve, and we're going to come out of that gate and we're going to be hitting people like the Wildcat did. Obviously not as gimmicky, but it's going to take teams time to catch up. And by the time they do catch up, that's when you start throwing the wrinkles. And the later in the season it is, the better it is for us, because then you start throwing the wrinkles once you get into the playoffs. And then in year 2, in the offseason, you get an influx of talent to create even more wrinkles. So I think what we're building is exciting. I think it's long term. And guys, Buckle up. I'm ready for the ride, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And we beat the Bills this year. The Dolphins will be 5-1 in their division. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, baby. You already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Anything I've been hearing, I'll post it to the Patreon. I love each and every one of you, even the haters. Y'all just make us get better, whether it's the team or me as a content creator. Let's go, baby. Fins up all day, every day. I'll see all y'all right back here on Thursday. But if something breaks, if we sign someone or some news breaks tomorrow, you can catch me right here on Finside the NFL. But if nothing big happens tomorrow, I'll see all of y'all on Thursday. Until next time, fins up all day, every day. Inside linebacking big board coming. Linebacker big board will be coming on Sunday. You know how we do all 22 film prospect evaluations. It's coming this Sunday. Be out on the lookout. Love all of y'all. Fins up for a third time because it's a charm.